what's up guys, TheJordude's here, back again with another Shadowverse video. This video is sponsored by Cygames, so if you want to play Shadowverse for free, you could do so on any of your mobile devices or on your PC through Steam. I'll have the link down below in the description so you can go download the game. If you guys are into the competitive side of Shadowverse, I'll also leave some links down below where you can check out some tournaments, such as the NGE website, as well as a list of community tournaments by Battlefy. So once again, links down below in the description. So in today's video, I want to talk about control decks and their play in tournaments. So what is control? Control decks are typically defined as decks that try to survive in the early and mid game, and then in the late game they start playing big stuff. Pretty much control in a nutshell. The example decks that I'm going to be using in this video, which are relevant at this time, are Control Blood. This is actually quite a traditional control deck in Shadowverse, has been played for a long time now with various changes, and this is somewhat of a newer deck. It's neutral control, so it's kind of taking the mid-range version of neutral force and putting it in some more late game to make it more of a control-ish deck. So as you can see here, in Control Blood, there's a lot of early game removal stuff, so cards like Hungry Horde, Vampiric Kiss, and then once we start getting into the later ends of the game, we see the big stuff like Bahamut, Spawn of the Abyss, Temptress Vampire. So this goes, Control Blood is like the best example of the definition of control decks. Early removal tools such as the cheap removal spells, big AoEs like Revelation, Bahamuts, and then the big threats in the late game. So why would you want to bring a control lineup such as a lineup of Control Blood, Control Force? Well, control is actually quite good for players that like to make decisions in the game, because when you're playing control decks, oftentimes your hand size is going to get bigger, so you're going to have more options on your turn. So you could do maybe XXX or XYZ, but if you're playing like an aggro deck, maybe you only have like one play at that time, so there's not as much of your options and flexibility in your play. So control, there's more flexibility in your decision making, and which some people like to do, or some people might not like to have the decision making, but it depends on your type of preference. Another pro of control is that they have comeback mechanics. So if you're playing like an aggro or mid-range decks, if you fall behind early game, you're most likely not going to come back in that game. However, in control, a lot of times you do fall behind in the early or mid game, but you do have the comeback mechanics because you have the utility spells for removal, and you also have big AoE cards. So if you start to fall behind on the board, you can make a comeback as a control deck. And finally, the last pro of control play is that they're good against aggro and mid-range strategies, which is usually prevalent in tournaments. So if you're tired of playing against like the aggro and mid-range players, if you bring control, you will have a general advantage against them. So the downsides of bringing control lineups is that sometimes you can brick. As you can tell, there's a lot more expensive cards in control decks. You're playing like 10 cost, 8 card costs, 7 cost cards. And so if you draw all these cards in your early opening hand, then you're going to be in big trouble, because you're going to be missing the first few turns. You don't have your removal cards to deal with the early threats. You take too much chip damage, and then you just lose. So you do have that possibility of bricking, and that's how aggro and mid-range decks can get the win off of you. You are also bad against combo decks. So in Shadowverse, combo decks can be quite good, such as D-Shift Rune. And so D-Shift Rune, OTK Roach, these decks will just destroy control decks, or basically any deck that has an one-turn kill combo or a high amount of burst damage. So like in Dragon, they would have the Genesis Dragon Ariete if they're playing the Queen combo. So because as a control deck, you have a bunch of removal, and then late game you're just playing a big threat on the board. You can't really counteract against like these big combos that come from combo decks' hands. So combo decks do beat you, and they are prevalent in tournaments. Like D-Shift is very popular in tournaments right now. Fortunately, you do get the ban in a lot of tournaments, so you can ban out their combo deck. And most of the time, people are playing lineups where they only have one combo deck, because if they have more than one, it's a bit risky to run. because then they'll just die to aggro lineups. So if that's the case, you can ban the combo, and then you should be good against the rest of their aggro mid-range decks. But if they are running like combo, D-Shift Rune, combo Ramp Dragon, OTK Roach, you would be in trouble. Finally, the last con I would say for control decks is that they are quite expensive for a lot of players. So if you're a budget player or you are just trying to get through enough cards to build decks for your tournament, it could be hard to build control lineups, because as you can see here with Control Blood, there's a lot of golden cards, there's quite a few legendaries, so it's hard to build this collection if you don't have a lot of cards and you don't want to spend the money. And a lot of these cards actually are hard to replace, so you can't really replace Revelation if you want to play Control Blood. It's just such a necessary card. Same as Control Force, as you can see, there's quite a bit of legendaries here, and then there's not really a good substitute for Bahamut, for example, or a good substitute for Itherfell if you're going to run Sahaquil. So that's kind of like my breakdown of what I think of the pros and cons of playing a control lineup. Generally, I would say you are quite safe to play control lineups because they are, a lot of the times tournaments are filled with aggro and mid-range decks. However, you do have to be careful for the combo decks. So you would have to go to the tournament, look up the rules, see if there's going to be a ban or not, and if it's open or closed deck list. Because all of that is relevant. If you can see what your opponent's playing, you could see if they're playing a D-Shift and you could just ban it. And then if they're playing like aggro and mid-range for the other decks, you would be an advantage in your lineups. However, of course, you can brick. So it is kind of a preference, and you do have to run the, you do have to acknowledge that the risk does come with the control lineups. So now I'm going to play a couple games with the Control Force and the Control Blood, just so you could get a feel of control gameplay, and then you could ultimately decide if you want to bring this type of lineup to your next tournament. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Follow me in the social media links down below in the description. And as always guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy these games, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Oh man, it's a rune. It's probably D-Shift Rune. So the way that we could beat D-Shift Rune is just kind of go off on the Beauty and the Beast. So hopefully we draw Beauty and the Beast, could play on turn 6, and then just kill them on turn 7 with an Ariat. That would be our game plan. I do have to get 2 damage in if I want to win with Beauty and the Beast Ariat. So we will play this Unica, try to get in for 2 damage. We do have Hector though to get that damage in, because Unica can't. So hopefully no Kaleidoscope or Wind Blast here. Ah. Guess we just pass. Yeah, we could have just thrown out ETA Dakota Lu, but now I'm going to get 2 Lus with this ETA. He's cycling really well though, so it's going to be hard. I'm going to hold this Lirio because there's no point playing it. He's just going to get an Evil if he has a Merlin. I could possibly play Hector and evolve it, and sometimes it sticks. So it's wishful thinking. But we have 3 evil points. We only really need 1 for the Beauty and the Beast anyways. I think I have to Staircase here and just try to draw it. I'm going to burn a card next turn, but we get to draw 3 Fallers from our deck. But it might be too slow now. I really need to play it now and then just win next turn. Wow, he's playing Cash and Magic Owl. It's crazy. There's the Beauty and the Beast. Go and evolve it now, just so he can't play a Faller to evolve into it somehow. But he probably has D-Shift this turn. I also don't have ETA. area in my hand, so even if I do survive this turn somehow, I don't have to win the moment. Oh, he doesn't have it either. Interesting. Is there any point of evolving this? It might be relevant. Maybe I survive a giant chimera by evolving here. I don't really need this evil point anyways. It really looked like the way he was playing that he had D-shift, but maybe he has it here. Because he played 2 cash and he owled twice. Like, but he also played 2 lose. D-shift for 18. So are we dead? Win live for 19, jeez. Maybe he doesn't have the second D-shift? That would be the dream. He might not have it. Oh wait, he's trading. Damn. Guess we just play slime down Israfil here. Actually, the Aaron's slightly better because it puts a ward. So he already used 1 D-shift. The Aaron might soak up enough damage where I survive. I also get an extra evil point. Could have also went Grimnir's just to play more wards. He's running out of cards in his deck. I'm surprised I wasn't dead last turn. Did he only have that 1 D-shift in his turn? In his hand? If that's the case, then if he just drew a D-shift, he wouldn't be able to play this turn. I think I want to set up a ward again. He's down to 3 cards in his deck. He just bricked super hard, I guess. There is a downside of playing combo decks though, is that sometimes combo decks can't be control decks because they brick really hard. But it's usually rare because combo decks draw a lot. So they're usually more consistent at being beating control versus like the consistency of control beating aggro mid-range, just because the pressure of control is a lot less. But here he is, second D-shift. The Flame Destroyer. So he could probably play the third D-shift. Could he get through the Grimnir at the same time so he could hit me? Even if he hit me twice with the Flame Destroyer is not enough, so he has to find another 2 damage. He just didn't have it. Yes! Alright, sword. I would say it's probably going to be a mid-range sword. I haven't really seen aggro sword lists around. I'll keep the Belphegor because that's what you ideally want. You want to play Blood Moon into Belphegor. Pick up a Vampire Kiss, so that's going to be good. We got an early removal. Also a Revelation that's kind of like an emergency. Yeah, if he gets a board and overcommits to it, puts me in Vengeance. Oh, there's the Blood Moon, nice. We got the perfect 3-4. If this is mid-range, it looks like it is mid-range sword if he's playing Lancers, so we should be quite good in this matchup. I'm going to play the Blood Moon now. I don't want to play the Baphomet or the Kiss because I want a Belphegor on 4. So I have to just kind of eat this damage, which is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw 2 here. I also have the Revelation active because of the Blood Moon, so if he just like, if I get too far, if he gets ahead on board because I took the 2 turns just developing these, I can just come back with Revelation. But he's playing Lux here, so it's not that much pressure. He actually doesn't have a good way of killing the Belphegor, so he just has to go face. Oh, he's actually trading here. Interesting. Ooh, Righteous Devil is a nice pickup here. I'm gonna evolve it. I go back up to 20 and now I have a Bane on the board that he has to deal with. What's super annoying about this is that even an evolved Albert doesn't kill this Righteous Devil. So he would have to... This Righteous Devil is going to get like a 3-for-1. Plus it healed me 4, so it's doing a lot. Next turn I might want to play the Blood Moon so I could play Emeralda and get the Storm off of it. Yes, he's gonna have to double trade here. It's probably the list with Otahime, so I have to have a Revelation ready for that. Maybe I don't Blood Moon here. I can just Vampiricus. If he goes Otahime, I have the Blood Moon Revelation. I also just have Hungry and Horde that just kills all the bodyguards. I guess we just play Emeralda here. Everything else doesn't seem that good, like we play Blood Moon Mask. I don't really need the Storm, it would be nice, but Blood Moon Mask kinda just seems like a waste of a turn. Double Hungry and Horde is even more of a waste. That's fine. I could play it a little bit slow. I just have to watch out for Albert turn 9. Another Horde. I do want to kill that. Play a Mask here. Do I need this Blood Moon? No, because next turn is probably Temptress. So yeah, I'll just play the Mask. I'm not too worried about these Knights, so I don't think I have to Hungry and Horde it. If he has Wilfred, he probably just plays the hero, then I could get better value in the Horde. Ooh, Leonidas. PogChamp. So I'm actually going to rev this board because I want to play Bahamut next turn. And I also have the Mask of Black Death, so I prevent any kind of like burst damage. Bahamut's just going to clear off that Leonidas, so rip that. That's fat board though. Does he commit more to it? Yep. Nice. So this is a really good value, Bahamut. Goodbye. That's probably why Leonidas doesn't really see play. So he's kind of playing I would almost control blood. I mean control sword, but I would still say it's more of the mid-range side. Maybe it's control. He's got some late game stuff. Don't really need Temptress here. Play the Righteous Devil. This Righteous Devil threatening wherever he plays. Shield of Flame. Actually, it is kind of low-key control deck because his range Shield of Flame. It's playing quite slow. But in like control mirrors, like control blood, usually going to win. Let's see what we draw off here. I do have to watch out a little bit for Bahamut if he's running Bahamuts. Because it's possible that he's running them. It's actually no. If he's playing Leonidas, why would you play Bahamut? Because you would just kill your own resolve. Righteous Devil. Would you be playing multiple Leonidas? I do have another Bahamut in my deck, and I do have double Emeralda, so I have answers to them. I just have to find it. Third Luminous Mage. That's fine. Get rid of that. And we don't need to play the mask yet because he's not threatening any way of killing me. The game's getting pretty grindy. I'm mainly looking for my Azazel, and then I'll drop Spawned Abyss and we could try to go for the OTK. He's actually drawing more than me now, but I think I would draw more throughout the game. Oh, it's actually removing the Bane. Okay, I'll take that. I do have double spawn, maybe I could just drop it now. I am putting pressure on him by playing the spawn, because if I'm playing spawn, I'm usually running it as a Zil, so if he knows that, he is going to force something out of him. Ooh, there's a Leonidas. PogChamp. There we go. That's what we were looking for.